Well, good afternoon. My name is Alan McCoy. I'm Director of Startup Support at the University of Maryland's UM Ventures. And I'm very pleased to welcome Professor Brent Goldfarb today to talk to us about crafting a very effective elevator pitch. So welcome, Brent. Brent is an entrepreneur and a professor of entrepreneurship for many years. He's been teaching entrepreneurship because he's convinced that you can teach it. And he has been quite successful. So thank you so much, Brent, for joining us today. And thank you to everybody who joined or who will join or who is watching us on YouTube.
Hi, everybody. It's very nice to be here. I've been at the Smith School since 2002, and I've been teaching entrepreneurship that entire time. And I started my own company in 2019. I co-founded a company. It's a battery startup. That's not about today. I wear many hats, which is good because I'm bald and it's good to cover and stay warm. I am going to share my screen, and I'm presuming you can all see this presentation, which is blank. I believe it's blank at the moment.
Yes.
Ala, if there's a problem, I'm sure you will let me know.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, good. All right. So the problem in pitching is you're usually pitching to somebody you don't know very well. And any supporter, a partner, an investor, may be hesitant to work with a new venture. And there's a couple of reasons. The first is a liability of newness. It's called startups are more likely to fail. Nobody ever got fired for hiring Salesforce or buying Salesforce, but if you've got some sort of new competitor, that can be problematic because the startup, the organization itself may fail just because you can't figure out how to build the organization, or there may be some unexpected problem. And on average, there's kind of a markets for lemons problem. So I'm sure everybody, well, if you've ever bought or tried to sell a used car, the first question you ask is, why is this car up for sale? Because are they selling it because it's a lemon? And it's a very similar problem when you're trying to essentially sell your startup or find a new stakeholder for your startup. And so these are kind of like the two central problems that a pitch needs to overcome. So the first problem is cognitive schemas. Usually, if you're a startup, you're doing something new, and so you have to explain what this new thing is, and your listeners are only familiar with what they know. And so this creates, in general, we solve problems using mental schemas. These are categories, and we assign objects to known categories of objects, so ventures to markets, for example. This is why you often see in pitches, we are the Netflix of X, right? To kind of create a metaphor and an analogy to help the listener understand. But it's a challenge for new ventures because they may not easily fit into an audience's categories. And confusion will lower interest. People tend to not invest in what they don't understand. The second problem is credibility. One of the most important sources of uncertainty that a investor can control is the quality of the founders. So they can get pretty good at screening founders. And your part of the pitch is to signal that quality and a performance, so there's very credible sources of information about a founder through your social network, through whatever degrees you may have, affiliations you may have. A performance is less credible. And so since you lack a track record, you need to either inherit or establish your own signal. In a way, there's a three-level logic, right? And the role of the pitch is simply to open the door. The role of the pitch is not to sell your entire business. It is not to close the sale of the business. That is something that can only and will only happen after an investor, or almost always happen after an investor establishes a relationship with you or is investing with somebody else who has established a relationship with you. But the pitch is really just to spark someone's interest in your business. Certainly in this case, the elevator pitch. And so you really want to look at it that way. Over time, just in general, regardless of pitches, it is quite important in the entrepreneurial setting to maintain and manage a portfolio of relationships with potential stakeholders. But that's something that happens over time. Okay, so I'd like to think of 3 basic steps to effective pitches. And the first one is tell a story. Every pitch has a story. People, that's how we think. We think through stories and narratives. And the story is going to have several components, and we'll repeat this in a moment as well. What is the fundamental problem you're solving? What is your solution to the problem? How is this solution different or unique to create what's called a competitive advantage? How big is the market opportunity? And how do you and investors make money? You're not just selling your product, you're selling your business. The second is my favorite word, WIFM. I'm sure you all know what that means. It's what's in it for me. So the listener of your pitch, what do they get out of it? How is whatever you're pitching, how is that addressing the needs of the listener? And the third thing is pictures, not words. So I have a rule of thumb. If you're going to use bullets, no more than 3 words per bullet, no more than 4 bullets per slide, but pictures are better. And the reason that's true is that it's almost impossible to read a slide and listen to the presenter at the same time because our brains can only do one thing. So if you're reading, you're not listening. And so in terms of a pitch, you really want to, the best way is to have pictures and to speak, and then the listener will focus on your words. Okay, so what is it? We were talking about the story. What is the fundamental problem you're solving? What is your solution to the problem? What is unique? How large is the opportunity? How do you and your investors make money? I'll circulate these slides as well. Now, when you do this, one of the most pronounced common mistakes that I have seen, especially technology entrepreneurs do, is they focus on what the technology does, not what problems it solves. And I'll give you an example. So don't focus on the attributes. Rather, it's incredibly important to translate those attributes into value for the listener. And make sure you understand the goal of the pitch. So now I'm going to do a sample pitch. We use digital signal processing in our hearing aids. This allows us to process sounds more accurately than our competition. We do this using advanced techniques that leverage new findings in acoustic sciences. So this was a terrible abbreviated pitch in that I described what the technology did, but I did not describe what problem it solves. And so this is a super, super common problem. And I'm going to introduce two very general formats just to start the pitch. The first is, oops, sorry. The first is what, so what example. And the second is problem, solution, advantage. So notice in both of these structures, there's a storyline and a plot. And so you start out with a problem, that's the what, or the problem, or what you're doing, the solution. The so what is the problem. You're putting the problem second, and then an example. And then the same thing in the second one. You're starting out with the problem, and then the solution is how the plot line resolves. So even though these stories can be rather small, they're not literally a novel, they all have this arc of a plot. And then finally, you need to end always with why should the listener care? So in an investor pitch, this is where you get into why you're better than your competition and how you might make money. So let's recast our hearing aid pitch. So we use digital signal processing in our hearing aids. Our product increases the clarity of sounds for hearing aids. For instance, if you're at a cocktail party with many conversations going on around you, you'll be able to hear what people are saying to you. So here's an example. Now I took that digital signal processing, which nobody really cares about. What they really care about is the ability to hear in a crowded environment. So we can do it this way too. Individuals with hearing loss have great difficulty understanding people around them in noisy environments. Our hearing aid increases the clarity of sounds by using digital signal processing. And individuals using our hearing aids can follow conversations much more easily than individuals using our competitors' products.
So for some reason, we now no longer see the slides on the bigger side. We only see the smaller slides.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, now you're telling me. Let's fix that.
Originally, the bigger slide was appearing in the big section.
And then just my notes showed up?
Yeah.
Huh. I have no idea why that happened. Now you should be able to see nothing. Is that correct?
We see you, but we don't see slides.
Yeah. Let's see. Now you see slides, correct?
Yes, now we see slides. Yes, that's correct. There you go.
All right.
There you go. Yes.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. No, thank you. What, so what? Okay, so let's do another one. What, so what example? We use Montessori methods in our new school. Our school focuses on children as individuals and enables them to learn to manage their own study independently. For instance, we enable children who are gifted in specific areas to proceed in advance of the rest of the students. So there, I'm very good at selling Montessori. Just FYI, my kids never went to Montessori schools, but I can do it another way too. All children are different. When put into a one-size-fits-all learning environment, quick learners and slow learners are disadvantaged. We use Montessori methods in our new school. This enables them to learn to manage their own study independently. For instance, we enable children who are gifted in specific areas to proceed in advance of the rest of the students. A couple more tips on presentation. People read faster than you can speak. Do not put full text up on slides. And here's an example. So I can do it this way too. Individuals with hearing loss have great difficulty understanding people around them in noisy environments. Our hearing aid increases the clarity of sound by using digital signal processing. Individuals using our hearing aids can follow conversations much more easily than individuals using our competitors' products. And then again, don't forget the listener's interest. So what was missing from my presentation, from that mini pitch, was anything about the market opportunity. I gave a product pitch as opposed to a business pitch. So let's try it again. Individuals with hearing loss have great difficulty understanding people around them in noisy environments. Our hearing aid increases the clarity of sounds by using digital signal processing. Individuals using our hearing aids can follow conversations much more easily than individuals using our competitors' products. The market for hearing aids is grossly underserved, as most individuals who have hearing loss do not own hearing aids at all. So this is a huge opportunity for hearing aid producers. So 7 things to remember about elevator pitches. If it's difficult to explain, you probably don't have a very good business. To learn how to communicate your business well. What problem do you solve? Turn adversity, the problem, into an opportunity. A problem is an entrepreneur's best friend because that is something that they can solve and hopefully monetize. Explain benefits and give examples. Leave with a call to action. What do you want from your listener? And show passion. Passion matters. Nobody should care about your business more than you. So the Smith School is going to launch a new entrepreneurship certificate, and businesses fail to raise money because they do not convey the value of their startups quickly. At the Smith School, we teach people how to make the most of their opportunities. When entrepreneurs adhere to our curriculum and our pitch recommendations, they're more likely to attract investors. For example, one of our former students recently attracted $2 million in venture capital funding. Their elevator pitch was crucial for their success. This workshop is only the tip of the iceberg. Sign up now and we will help you get your new venture off the ground. So are there any questions so far?
Yeah, I have a question. I'm not sure. Is it okay for people just to raise their hand, or do you want to do it electronically?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I had a couple of questions for you, Brent. One, what about the timing? And maybe I missed that, but how long do you think the elevator pitch should be, minimum, maximum?
Great question. So it depends on the purpose of the pitch. What I've been focusing on here is a 60-second pitch, an elevator pitch. As a pitch gets longer, you have more space to add more content. So for example, in a 60-second pitch, you're really not going to have that much time to talk about your competition, except in pretty vague ways. 60 seconds is about 100 words. That's 5 sentences. So or 5 or 6. So you really don't have time in that short period of time to go into that. I will share with Ala afterwards, and she can circulate to the attendees, that there are many resources about how to structure longer pitches, but they all basically say the same thing, everyone that I've seen. They all want a problem solution, a competitive advantage, some information about the competition and how the business is relative to that competition, and then some storyline about how the business will make money in that new world that is envisioned, once the technology is successful or the solution is successful. They all have those basic elements, and then how exactly you present that is really a bunch of trial and error specifically to your pitching style, and the content you're trying to pitch.
Just as related to the same question and the answer, your answer was great. That caught my attention is where you said having a picture with a narrative, and you said 4 bullets and no more than 3 words per bullet. Are you proposing in this 1 minute elevator pitch to have 1 picture, 4 bullets and 3 words per bullet on the screen? Is that the idea for that 1 minute, or to have multiple video or images?
So in a 1 minute pitch, you may not even have slides. In a 3 minute pitch, you might have a few more slides. The rule of thumb in any presentation, I don't care what it is, a pitch, an academic presentation, if you have too much text in your slide, it's not an effective slide, full stop. And so that's my rule of thumb, 4 bullets per slide, no more than 4 words per bullet. And if it's anything more than that, then your audience is reading and they're not listening, and you no longer control the message that they're receiving, because they may not hear you while they're reading, and they may miss something that you want to add to the presentation. And so in general, the fewer words on the slides, the more there's nothing to read, so they'll listen to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that is always a better spot to be in. Now, how exactly to do that will depend. Like, I can give you, or I have been presenting general guidelines, and these are kind of formulas, but you have to adapt them to your context. You can't just like that. You have to. There's trial and error in doing this. Pitching is really, really difficult, and it's even harder to do well. And so we're about to do an exercise where hopefully you'll experience what it's like to try to do it. It's challenging.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
In a longer, one strategy you could use, sometimes what you'll see, less so today because pitches are all virtual. But if we ever go back to pitching in person, or even if we don't, it is sometimes helpful to circulate. You can circulate slides with more verbiage that somebody could read afterwards. But the present, and so you might have different slides that you present and slides that you circulate. Well, the ones that you circulate tell much more of a story, and they can hold up independently. Because if I just show you pictures and there's no language, you're going to have difficulty interpreting them. Sometimes I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so the rule of thumb that you mentioned before is about 4 bullets and about 4 words per bullet, roughly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and Neil, no offense, like you will, I'm sure you noticed, I've noticed this, and I'm about 2 years younger than you are, I think. And your eyes aren't as good as you get older. And so there will always be people of all ages in the room. And if you have small text, you can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
And so you need large enough text for everybody in the room.
Right. Good point.
Yeah, that's something that's really important. I know there's younger people on this Zoom, and you overestimate the ability of older people to see stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Guarantee it. So I want to do, are there more questions? I'm sorry.
Anybody else has any more questions before we continue to the exercise?
So,
See any?
okay. This is kind of a fun, it's going to require you to participate. So one thing I've discovered over time is that you will learn and retain a lot more if you do, as opposed to just listen to me, because it's so easy to tune out, especially to me. And so we're going to do a quick breakout, and then I want each team, we'll see if anybody wants to, at the end of the breakout, present their 60-second pitch to the rest of the group, I'd be really interested in hearing that. So in the breakout, you're going to have 3 people per breakout. And hopefully these people should not be in your team. So, if you happen to be here with a co-founder or something like that, you really don't want to be in the breakout with somebody from your business, from your team. And so, one way to do this, Ala, would simply be to, well, you can do the breakouts however you want.
Well, first of all, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. So this will be the end of the video recording.
Oh, hold on before they start. Actually, let's just record these next 2 slides so they have
Okay.
that. Okay, so use use one of the frameworks, and I'm going to drop the slides into the chat so you can open it up as a PDF momentarily. And so use one of the frameworks to create a 60-second pitch for your business. If you don't have a business, you just have an idea, then for the idea. And if you don't have that, then for somebody else's idea that you know about. And that's about 100 to 130 words. That's as much as you can say in 60 seconds. So 4 to 5 sentences. And take about 10 minutes to do that. Next, set a timer and then give your pitch to the other 2 people in your group for 60 seconds. And then pause for 30 seconds. And the other 2 people should write down in a single sentence what they think your business is, as best they can. Right? And then compare those to what you thought it was. And this is usually a pretty instructive experience. Okay. All right, so Ala, now you can stop recording. I will stop sharing, and I will drop this file in the chat. And then Ala, if you can create the breakout rooms, that would be fantastic.